Joining us right now, Eric Adelson. He's with Yahoo Sports. He's down in Rio, and he is soaking it all in, the World Cup. Eric, first of all, you're there to cover the whole thing, not just Team USA, right? You don't get like 5 days off in between matches like the team does.
No, I don't. I'm actually going to the airport this morning to fly to Fortaleza for the Germany-Ghana game. So,
Germany-Ghana.
Yeah, that's a big one for the U.S. So I'll be there tomorrow to report from an American's perspective.
So now, from the Americans' perspective, we are rooting for Ghana to beat Germany, right? Since we beat Ghana.
I believe it's Germany because we're assuming that Germany is the heavyweight of the group and will go through. And so, if Germany if Ghana wins, then it's potentially 3 teams fighting for one spot. And if Ghana loses, then they're basically out, and then the U.S. has a chance to beat or tie Portugal, and then control their own destiny. So, I believe that it's cheering for Germany that needs to happen. So there's one less team fighting for that second spot.
Gotcha. And let's talk about this matchup with Portugal. Portugal usually is one of the elite teams, but boy, they looked really bad against Germany. They lost 4-0.
They do. They look. If you take away the reputations of the teams, the U.S. looks far better lately. The U.S. has won 4 in a row, and I don't think there's another national team in the world that has won 4 in a row. If you can consider lead-up games. Portugal just hasn't looked good at all. It's not just Ronaldo. The team is not playing too well together. They just look shaky, wobbly. I'm not sure why. I guess the leading theory is that there's a lot of those guys who played long regular seasons in the Champions League, and this is something that bothered Spain as well. And Spain is now out, so they're having trouble getting it together, despite even with Ronaldo. And Ronaldo is not well, so. If you're going to play Portugal, this is the time to do it. When the U.S. is playing together and well and looking rested and fit, and Portugal isn't. And of course, remember this is in the jungle, so that's going to make it even harder for all these players to get through 90 minutes.
All right, so I want to back up a little bit. You mentioned it in passing, but it's sort of a huge earthquake kind of event that Spain is basically out of it. I mean, talk a little bit about how big that is.
Earthquake is right. I was there when Chile beat Spain, and that is the best way to describe it, because Spain is a dynasty. They're the Heat, they're the Spurs, they're the best team of the last decade, and they're the defending champions. And they came in, and they got surprised by the Netherlands. And then I was at the press conference leading up to this Chile game, and they seemed like they knew what they had to do. And they were just flat. They just didn't look good at all. And Chile looked terrific. And Spain was 6-1 odds coming into the tournament to win it. And now they're out. They're off the board, it's really the story of this tournament so far from a global perspective. No question.
All right. So now we have played Ghana. We're getting ready, as you say, for our next game in Portugal. What was revealed about the nature of this U.S. team in that game with Ghana that might be instructive for those who follow this?
That's a very good question. I don't know if anything was revealed further than what we already knew or suspected. It's just more credible that Klinsmann's strategy is a good one for this tournament, because he plays this counterattacking strategy, compact on defense, look for turnovers, try to clog up midfield, but be able to get some speed and make some plays if there's a turnover. And that's exactly what's winning this tournament. It's not Spain's passing, keep away type strategy. It's creating transition soccer. That's a term I just made up. But you guys get it. In that if you can create turnovers and speed in the midfield area, and then and strike quickly, you can surprise some teams, and that's how some of the underdogs have won. The U.S. It worked for the U.S. against Ghana. They're going to try it again against Portugal, and Klinsmann is proving very smart so far. It's only been one game, but his strategy has been the most effective strategy overall in this tournament.
And it appears he's got some depth on the bench.
He does, yeah. Chris Wondolowski is a guy who can score. I like him to make an impact, especially with Altidore out with an injury. Aaron Johansson with Iceland roots is somebody who similar a score. They just need one or two. I mean, that's what they said because the defense has been good and they have Tim Howard. I don't feel there's been enough appreciation for having one of the better goaltenders in the world.
Yeah,
and he looked very good against Ghana, and he'll be relied on. I mean, the U.S. is only going to go as far as he takes them, and so far he looks good.
Eric Adelson's our guest. He's from Yahoo Sports, and he's down in Rio when he's not partying on the beach with a bunch of bikini-clad women. He is phoning in here and giving us some stellar reports on the World Cup. And to talk to me about your interaction, if there has been any, with the USA team, are they aware of the ratings it's getting, that match got here and the World Cup is getting here in the United States? And I can tell you here in the D.C. market, we had more people watching that match than anywhere else in the country. And John Brooks Jr., boy, what a hero he was. Does he have any idea how many people were talking about him on Twitter and Facebook this past week?
I don't think so. Full disclosure, I've been in Rio for the last week, so I haven't been. I did the Argentina game and the Spain game, but they're cocooned. I mean, they have some sense of it because they're on social media. But they don't get it fully. I don't think, because it has been such huge support, and even here the fans are having. I mean, I talk to U.S. fans, and they don't just say this is great. They say this is the best week of my life. That's the kind of things I'm hearing from the U.S. fans, really. And the D.C. market is fantastic soccer market. So that's not surprising. What's surprising is just the national groundswell of support. But I don't think it comes to them. I mean, they're flying, they're training, they're in fairly remote places, and they're focusing on their game. And it's interesting because when I spoke to them, I covered them in Jacksonville, and they knew. I feel like they had a chip on their shoulder. They knew that the expectations were low. They knew that people weren't really giving them much of a chance. And so I know the appreciation of from the fans is felt, but they also feel like the media hasn't really bought into them, and I think that's motivating them as well.
All right, and so now beyond the U.S.-Portugal match, and as you mentioned, you're heading out to the Germany-Ghana match. What other matches for the true soccer fan, or just for the people who are getting into the World Cup, what other international matchup this weekend would you recommend?
We have to keep an eye on Italy because they're a world power, but also because they can end up ruining England. England's on the brink, and,
right.
And so this Italy-England drama is going to play out. And I'm just really taken by. I think Argentina is a team that needs to be watched. The two teams. Argentina, I feel like they weren't great against Bosnia. They play Iran. This is not a tough group, but they kind of looked out of sorts a little bit. They're a favorite to win this, and Messi saved them. And if they don't look great against Iran, there's going to be alarm bells that go off in South America. So that's interesting to watch. And then Belgium plays Russia. Belgium, I feel like, is a team that's underrated. They're 20-1 to win it all. If you want a sleeper team that you want to keep an eye on, I like Belgium, and I want to see them against Russia. Which, by the way, is a team that if the U.S. gets through, it's pretty possible that the U.S. plays Russia. So this is a game to watch if you're an international soccer fan or if you're an American soccer fan, and that's Sunday.
Eric Adelson, Yahoo Sports reporter, he likes Belgium as a dark horse. Not waffling on that pick.
I see what you did.
All right, have a good time this weekend. You are the envy of many Americans here as you get to tour around Brazil and see all these great matches in the World Cup. We'll talk to you next week, Eric.
Lucky to be here. Thanks for having me.